Hello everyone, my name is Meghan LeVota and I'm an ENFJ, and today I have some quick advice for FE users, especially FJs. If you are an ENFJ, INFJ, ISFJ, or ESFJ, this advice will probably really stick out to you even more. So, FE is extroverted feeling, which means that it is objective feeling, and it is feeling that is prefers the breadth over the depth of feeling. FE users tend to prefer to give their emotional energy rather than receiving. And some advice or some consideration that I have for any FE user listening to this is to think about how often you receive love, and perhaps to think about receiving love as a skill. Now, in general, I've noticed that FE would prefer to give love and FI is more comfortable receiving love. Now, this is the reason for a lot of the stereotypes of FI being selfish or whatever. But the thing is that FE can be just as selfish if you are only giving so that you can receive, or if you're only giving to seem like or feel like a good person. And FI can be very altruistic by only receiving the love that they feel is authentic and shutting people out and knowing to not get hung up on just like wanting attention or something like that. So I would like for the remainder of this video for you guys to do your best to sort of not place any moral judgments on the words giving or receiving. Because what I'm arguing here is that you need both in order to fully experience love. Because those of you who would prefer to give, a lot of times that's a cover-up for not feeling like you deserve love and not being able to receive any. And so you just would rather be the giver because it feels vulnerable to be the receiver. And FI users, on the other hand, are more skilled at receiving because their FI knows what they want. FI is deep. It is subjective. And since when feeling is subjective, that means that the FI user has a good understanding of what they individually feel as a subject versus just looking out into the entire objective world. So that's why FI users tend to know what they want, and they, when things that they want come their way, they have no issue taking most of the time. Now, I'm not trying to say that FE users give more to the world and that FI users are just takers. That's not true. FI, though, has an easier time receiving and often needs to learn how to push themselves out of their comfort zone and give a little bit more. But the two functions misperceive each other a lot when they don't realize where the other one's coming from. Like FJs often judge FI users as being selfish because they are able to receive, when often that could come from a standpoint where FJs don't know how to receive and they are envious of that subconsciously. And a lot of times FI users might judge FJs for putting themselves out there so much and giving so much and being so extra because FI users are always wanting to protect their emotions from harm because they know what they want, they know what they feel, and they don't want to do something super risky where then their FI could get compromised. So the two are sort of looking at each other from this completely opposite view. And also keep in mind that I'm an ENFJ, I'm using FE here to explain, and so I might not be explaining it super perfectly for the FI users in the room, but I have guess and check this theory with like 3 of my NFP friends to sort of understand this. So I'm doing my best here. But my advice for FE users is to realize that, and comment below if you would want another video that's the opposite of this to help FI. But right now I'm really going to be talking about, for the rest of the video, FE users, because that's sort of the insight I have in my brain right now. Is some advice for FE users is to realize that a lot of the reason why we as FE users need people to spell it out for us, how they feel about us, is because when those moments are there, when people are showing us love, when they are respecting us, when they are doing things for us, we often don't know how to receive that. And we always will be like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, oh, you don't have to do that. Like, we deflect. Because we have TI, we don't have FI. And, you know, Dave's Superpowers talks about the introverted judging functions as consuming for the self, and extroverted functions as blasting to the tribe. So you can sort of think of it like this, as FE blasting out emotions and FI consuming for the self. So FI, when things are happening to it, they are consuming that. Like, FI is consuming what it wants. FE, what you want could be right in front of you and you might not be consuming it. So this is something that's important to realize, that a lot of the reason why unhealthy FJs are always demanding something from you, and it's because FJs we're almost like expecting you to show us that you love us every single day, or show us that you appreciate us every single day, because we don't know how to receive it once and then just remember it later and apply it later. That's sort of the nature of an extroverted function, is that we're looking outward for any sort of sign of it. Where for an FI user, they might be more low maintenance, because you might just compliment them once or whatever, and then they're gonna just assume that you feel that way later. For FE users, emotions change a lot. They change by the minute. Like, and so FE can kind of assume that the emotions outside themselves, or your emotions, are also changing by the minute. And so, but it's very unhealthy for FJs or any FE user to sort of expect the other people around them to show you FE all the time. And always be like proving it to you. Like, I've noticed this, I'm dating an INFJ right now, and I've noticed with us that we tell each other that we love each other literally nonstop, like every day. And we still, even with someone like that telling me they love me nonstop, I still don't believe it. And my partner still doesn't believe it. I mean, we believe it, like with TI, like we get that we love each other. But I notice this dynamic all the time with us, where we would so much rather be telling the other person that we love them. But it breaks my heart trying to put love in my partner's direction, and to feel like they're just not accepting that. Like, as FJs, we would rather use TI to figure out if it makes sense for you to love us based on our subjective logical standards. And FI doesn't work that way. It's not logical to love someone. It's like, yeah, TI can have like reasons, but love doesn't always have a reason. Emotion doesn't always have a reason. And I don't know. I guess really the main thing I want to get out in this video, I'm still working on it myself, but giving is just, or receiving is just as important as giving. And a healthy relationship cannot succeed without receiving as well. And this is something that FJs very much need to work on, because if we don't receive the love that the people around us are trying to give us, then they can resent us for that fact, because they might feel like we're just not respecting the time and effort it took for them to show us. We aren't respecting TE is what we're doing. Because to TE, it takes effort to logically, like, spell that out for you. What am I trying to say now? It's like kind of a slap in the face to people that are trying to love us, that we then turn around and deflect it and then try and like love them. An example actually is I went to Washington, D.C. for a conference, and it was my first time getting like an Airbnb, and I accidentally missed one of the days, and my Airbnb host was like, you know, you're supposed to be like moving out now, right? And I still had one more day, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I chose the wrong day. That's crazy. And so I had to pack up really quick, and I was trying to find a hotel that I can afford, or another Airbnb, and also like a place to put my stuff for the conference. Like, it was a whole mess. And this friend I met there, who I believe is an ISFP, let me stay at her place. And it was like someone I just met at a conference that lived in the area, that was kind enough to let me stay on her couch. And I kept apologizing. I just would not stop apologizing. I was like, I'm so sorry. You don't have to do this. Oh my gosh, I'm ridiculous. I can't believe I did that. Like, my TI was beating myself up for the stupid mistake I made. My TI was beating myself up so much that I couldn't experience the FI of that somebody just did something nice for me. And isn't that great? Can't I feel appreciative for them? FE tries to show appreciation by then doing things or saying something, as opposed to just feeling the appreciation. That was the hardest thing in the world for me. And she actually told me, could you not apologize again? It's making me uncomfortable. And then she said that the more I apologized, that it made her second guess, in a sense, why she was helping me. And she wasn't like actually second guessing it. But what I understood from her saying that was that when you do that, you're almost like someone's loving you, and it's almost like you're putting this mirror up and trying to like shove it back to them, because we're so unable to accept that. Then we are kind of offloading responsibility onto them in a way where then they're like, oh man, well, because if our TI is like, well, I don't know if I deserved it, blah, 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 then they're going to feel that from you and then be like, well, do they deserve it? And I think it makes me, oh, I just bit my tongue. It makes people uncomfortable when we are unwilling to accept what they did for us. And it's not a way to show respect. And it's not a way to get people to keep helping you. So, and I mean, I've noticed this like with my girlfriend, who's an INFJ, is that whenever I compliment her, what I want is to see her face light up. And it's so rare that that happens. She always responds with complimenting me instead. And I do the same thing. My face doesn't light up either. Like, but you have to trust that the people that do care about you want to see you light up. And you gotta let yourself light up, because we do so much seeking of emotional validation and so little taking of the validation that we have. And that's why people think that we're being high maintenance, because we don't know how to recognize the love that's in front of our face sometimes, because we don't know how to receive. So my advice here for FE users, especially FJs, is to realize that by not accepting the love of people around you, you're actually being mean to the people around you. And you don't want to be mean, do you? You don't. They'll appreciate it if you just say thank you and not say sorry all the time. And people would be more willing to actually help you out when you ask for help if you appreciate the effort that they put in and you feel appreciation in your heart. So hopefully this was helpful. I think I say that after like almost every video, because again, I'm like doubting myself. And you know, another thing that inspired this video is that I get so many lovely comments from all of you guys and people reaching out to me saying that I've impacted them. And literally all of that goes in one ear and out the other. Like, I really need to do a better job at accepting and appreciating those things, because it's overwhelming and I don't believe it. My TI is beating myself up. Even just now, I'm like, hopefully that was helpful. I'm like, I don't know if it was at all. I don't know if everyone's going to hate this. So, I struggle with this a lot. So I don't have the answer for you, but I will say that I've begun to notice a pattern of it making people uncomfortable when I do this. And I think that as I am an FE user, it is, you know, motivation for me to not do this. When I notice that it is impacting other people, it does make them uncomfortable, and it will improve my relationships and my general happiness if I'm willing to accept what's there, as opposed to always asking for more. Because I think that's how it feels to people of other functions, that we are like always asking for more or something. Because FE, it's extroverted, and so it's judge. I almost feel like extroverted functions are almost like in motion. Like TJs are always like, this is what I believe for now until there's other science that proves me wrong. FE is like, this is how I feel for now, but I'm trying to think about how I'm going to feel tomorrow. Because it's, you know, the external world around us is always moving. So any extroverted or objective function is going to be more prone to change than something that's subjective and introverted. But yeah, so it feels sometimes I think for FI users, it feels like when we do this that nothing they do is ever going to be enough for us, so why should they keep trying? So that's a real thing that I think we need to consider, how our own altruism is actually hurting our relationships. So thank you for watching this, and subscribe if you want more videos like this. I have a Facebook group below that you can join, and also if you want to work with me one-on-one, if you want me to help apply these sorts of lessons to your personal life using your cognitive functions, I would love to help you with that. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.